Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. We are joined by Paul McAllister for the match preview, which is Everton and Manchester City. Give us your thoughts on this one. Are you looking forward to it?
No. No, because Manchester City have just been beaten by Spurs, and Pep Guardiola, and the mentality of a lot of those City players who've been around for a while now and have won trophies. Whenever they have something go against them, they always look to come roaring back with a vengeance, and it's just typical that it's going to be us. We're going to be on the end of their rage and their determination to put things right, isn't it? So hopefully the gods are smiling on us and we can do something that will make City have a hard time of it against us. But am I expecting to walk away from anything from this game? The honest answer is no. I just hope that we go in there and we show a bit of fight that will stand us in good stead for the rest of the season. Because if we can go in there and really fight against City and make them work really hard for it, then you'd have to think that we'll be capable of getting some results against some teams that we're going to play afterwards. So it's one of those games where I just can't wait for it to be out the way.
Yeah, I agree. We don't have the best record. Obviously, people will remember Tom Davis's debut, the 4-0. That was 2017. Since then, the best result we've had against these is a draw. Obviously, everybody remembers last year, the 5-0 at the Etihad, which I'm just going to say Everton were in the mood to give Sergio Aguero the best testimonial they could do, because it was just, you had Michael Keane running out of the defence trying to take on half the City squad. If I remember rightly, it was all a bit. I think
James going on holiday.
Yeah, I think half the players mentally were.
Yeah, James going on holiday to save himself for a Copa America that he didn't end up going to anyway. Yeah,
it was something else. And like you said, City are coming off a defeat to Tottenham, which was a really entertaining last the last 10 minutes were mad. But I agree with you. I think Pep Guardiola is going to be fuming about that. And he's going to look at us now and think, right, it's got that feel where he's going to tell them to absolutely punish us.
Yeah, we're fishing a barrel, aren't we? Yeah.
A bit like when like the sport. I don't want to say it, but it's got score as many goals as you can past them to prove, to sort of make it up to me type of vibe in his mentality in his camp, which obviously isn't guaranteed if we put up a good enough fight. But I've got that horrible feeling that in terms of them, they're going to show up.
They're going to show up angry, aren't they? And they're going to show up in a merciless mood. And when you're merciless and you go up against an Everton team that are just basically, we cling to any mercy that clubs throw to us, it could get very, very messy, couldn't it? Hopefully not, because I think a very, very bad result could just destroy the already on the floor confidence of this team. If we go and get battered 4 or 5-0, not worse, then it's those type of results are the type of things which players could just never ever shake off between now and the end of the season, isn't it? And it would just be so damaging to our mission to stay up, as depressing as that is. So that's what teams do when they're in a relegation battle. The games they lose, they got to make sure they don't lose them by much, so everyone's belief doesn't completely go out the window. Because sometimes when you just get hammered, some teams just decide for themselves, right, what's the point in even trying? That's a disgraceful attitude to have. You should be going out onto the pitch and trying your hardest every week. But it's, for a fact that's just reality. It's what footballers are like. I mean, by nature. When they get absolutely hammered, they'll just drop their heads and they're more likely to get hammered again by teams that were nowhere near as good as the team that hammered them originally. Especially Everton Football Club. That's all absolutely true when it comes to us.
Yeah, I completely agree. We're one of those that sort of can't let our heads drop, and we've got the games don't get easy. Obviously, we've got Borough in the FA Cup, which isn't really in the grand scheme of things, the most important thing.
Yeah.
Then we've got Tottenham, who aren't by any stretch easy. They've Conte seems to have got starting to get quite a bit of a tune out of the band. Then Wolves again
flying. Yeah, one of the most informed teams in the league, really, apart from Liverpool and maybe Newcastle.
Yeah. Who have we got next? We got Newcastle after them at Goodison Park. Obviously, St. Maxim apparently might be out for it, which is a massive plus. But then we start getting into Watfords and games we need to be winning, and we don't need our head to be dropped or the morale in the team to be decimated leading into those types of games.
Yeah. The Liverpool Echo have done that thing, haven't they, where it's predict how the final league table, what it's going to look like. For anyone who's not done it, you can go on the website and you basically predict every game for every club between now and the end of the season. And it's about, I think, 40, 50 games that you pick a result for. And you'll see what the final table looks like. Now, we were talking just before we started recording. We've both done this, and we both compared where Everton would finally finish. So just want to say, Connor, mate, when you went on the website and you basically predicted every game for every club between now and the season's end, where did Everton ultimately finish on your league table, and how many points did we have?
I can't remember the points off by heart, but we finished 12th or 13th. We finished 13th, I think we did. I had us win a couple of games, but I think
I'd snap your hands off for that, 12th or 13th. It must have been around 40 points that you got us. I predicted the games, and I had Everton finishing on, I think, 39, which I would, again, if we managed to get that, I'd be absolutely over the moon with that, considering where we are. And we're on 22 now, so I'd have us picking 17 points up from the remaining 15 games. I think over the remaining 15 games that we've got, maybe 12 or 13 points is probably going to be enough. But if you could, please, mate, can you possibly get up every fixture we've got left, and we'll run through it quickly.
Yeah.
We'll go back to talk about the City game in a minute, like who's available and how we'd line up. But just please get up Everton's remaining fixtures, and we'll just do a quick comparison now of whether you think what the results are going to be.
Do you want to start from City, or do you want to start from Tottenham?
We'll start. Well, do you think we're going to get a result against City?
No,
I don't either. So no, we both think City are going to beat us, Goodison. And then what's our next game after that?
Tottenham. Tottenham's ground.
Tottenham. I'm going to pick Tottenham to beat us as well.
Same. I think I put that they beat us on that Echo thing. Then we've got Wolves at Goodison.
Maybe I'm being a bit optimistic with this, considering that they're flying, but I'm going to go for a draw. Everton Wolves, a draw.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because call me, daft, but I think the Goodison atmosphere really does give us that extra 10%.
Yeah.
So I think a draw is probably about fair there. Then we've got Newcastle. I personally think we could beat these at Goodison.
I do, but a lot of I'll just say it. In my work, a lot of the Reds who have been talking to are all convinced we're going to get beaten. That I don't say these are the same Reds who I work with who are convinced we're going to get beat by Leeds. And we were sort of debating it today, and I thought I wouldn't say we're definitely going to beat Newcastle, but I wouldn't say we're definitely going to lose to that Newcastle either. But one Red in particular was talking as if it was a given. Like Newcastle were just going to turn up and roll us over, and he was using the fact that we went to St James's Park a few weeks ago and got beat as justification. Said, did you not watch your game against Newcastle at their place? They absolutely destroyed you. But I was trying to basically argue with him and say, well, there was a lot of things that happened in that game, mate. Oh, yeah, it was an absolutely rubbish result, and it was a poor performance overall, but we had a lot of things go against us. We had 2 players go off in the first half injured who were massive for us. We had Dele Alli come on, who wasn't able to make much of a difference. Van der Beek came on, and that was Van der Beek's debut, wasn't it? And he wasn't able to make much of a difference. Like, Van der Beek's now officially in our starting lineup. He'll be fitter.
Trippier's free kick, which is just, I mean, if you don't give him away in dangerous areas.
Trippier's free kick, and Trippier probably won't be playing because he certainly won't be playing because he's injured. I don't know how long he's going to be out for. I've read some people saying he's going to be out for about a month or 2, and some people saying he's going to be out for longer. But I think it's fair to say he definitely won't be back for their game against us, and he's been like a galvanising force for their team, hasn't he? So Trippier won't be playing. So I look at the Newcastle game, and anything less than a win, I'd be very disappointed with. I know that they've picked up, and they definitely look like they've got a lot of momentum that we don't have, even though they're in a similar situation. Well, I look at that and I think we can definitely beat Newcastle. If we can beat we could beat Leeds 3-0 and make it look very comfortable. Then I don't see any reason why, if we had a full strength team, we can't, when Newcastle turn up, beat Newcastle.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think as well with I think the crowd is massive with
I do.
with us. And I think in the same way, people when we got beat at St James's Park were saying, "Oh, weren't the Newcastle fans brilliant?" And I agree with you. I think we had a lot of things. People forget, he used his 2 substitutions at like 30 minutes, Lampard.
Yeah.
But I think the crowd added something there, and they'll add something now. Obviously, St Maxim is apparently in. I don't know if he'll still be injured by then, but that's another one because he basically, he was having way too much fun against us. If he's not fit by then, that sort of gives me a little bit of hope as well. We'll have to wait and see, though. I think Eddie Howe's probably hoping he'll be back as soon as possible.
But so I think we'll beat Newcastle at home. So that's a win, and I've got Wolves at home as a draw. Maybe I'm being generous with that because Wolves do look the business at the moment, don't they? But I've got that a draw, so that's 4 points. And what's the game after that?
Watford, Vicarage Road.
That's huge. That is absolutely huge. We can't lose that game. We can't lose it. You'd want to win it, but if you'd offered me a draw in that game now, it's one of them. If we didn't beat Newcastle at home and we didn't get a point against Wolves, because I've just predicted we'll get 4 points out of those 2 games. If we get maybe 1 point out of that, or even no points out of those games, then we have to beat Watford. But if we get 3 or 4 points out of Wolves and Newcastle, then I think that Watford game is just an absolute don't lose, similar to what the Newcastle game at St James's was the other day. If Watford beat us at Vicarage Road, then I will be really, really worried, because I know Watford just picked up a result against Aston Villa, but Watford's, I think, when I've looked at them, they're a team under Roy Hodgson where they don't do anything special. They've got 1 or 2 players who've got ability, but I just don't see Watford turning many teams over between now and the end of the season, or I hope they won't. We can't be one of those teams, a relegation rival. We absolutely cannot lose that game under any circumstances. But for that game, I'll go for a draw for that one.
I'm gonna be optimistic and hope that Lampard's shown them when they came to Goodison Park on repeat. I'm gonna go that we'll nick something from that. I'm not completely sold on the fact that Hodgson is the right sort of. Just I don't rate it.
Yeah, he's going to wave a magic wand and suddenly turn them into what he had Crystal Palace for a few years, just really rock solid and dependable.
Yeah, so I think we might be able to catch them on the sort of on the off. After that,
I hope so.
Yeah. I say after that we've got West Ham at West Ham's at the London Stadium.
I don't see us getting anything there. To be honest, West Ham got a lot to play for, and they're better than us all over the park, aren't they? And they're better organised. They've got a manager who's been there for longer. West Ham are a club that we should be, and what we were for years under David Moyes. Probably won't win the big prizes. They're probably not going to win the Europa League. They're probably not quite going to get in the top 4, but they'll always be there or thereabouts. And that's, when you're a West Ham fan, considering all the crap they've had to go through over the last 10 years or so, they're probably just loving life at the moment. So I don't see us getting anything out of West Ham, personally.
No, I don't either, especially not away from home.
No.
Then we return back to Goodison Park with Manchester United.
That'll be another big game. I think Man United are very up and down under Ralph Rangnick, aren't they? They look great one week, and they look rubbish the next. Again, I'd be really happy with a point out of that, and I think we are absolutely at Goodison capable of getting a point out of that. I think that will be a draw.
I was just about to say I think we're going to draw this one. Like you said, they either one day they look really good or they look absolutely out of ideas. And bearing in mind, we in the reverse fixture we gave them a bit of a good go in, so I'm sort of hoping at Goodison we'd be able to at least sort of give them a good go again.
That game as well, I think, is on Grand National weekend, isn't it? It's an early kickoff. It's on the Saturday, so the atmosphere will be great. I think on that, I was talking about this today. I think it's a 12:30 kickoff, and the Liverpool City game at the Etihad is at 5:30, and the Grand National, I think, will be at 5:15. So you just know the city itself is going to be absolutely buzzing on that day. So you can bet the barn there's going to be a great atmosphere for that. So when you take that into account, I'm fairly confident we're not going to lose that game. I'd be very, very, very disappointed if we did.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and especially because it's United as well, obviously there is that sort of
it's always passionate. Everyone's always up for it when United come to town, aren't they? But them more than anything this time around, because we're actually playing for something. We're desperate for the points. It'll be on a day of the year where everyone's kind of eager to get out and have a good time and make a lot of noise and get behind the team. Even if we were just playing Boreham Wood in the FA Cup on that Grand National weekend, it would still be an absolutely brilliant atmosphere. So yeah, I'm confident we can get a point out of that game. So out of the games we've talked about so far, I think I've got us winning a game and drawing 3. So I've got us picking up 6.
You might, well, depending on how you feel on the next one. The next one is, again, Goodison Park, is Crystal Palace.
I think we can win that.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for us not to be winning that. Crystal Palace.
They're another one that seems to...
Yeah, they're okay. They're too good to go down. They're not going to be dragged into any relegation battle, I don't think. But they're not going to get top half either. They're just sort of just continuing on under Patrick Vieira. Patrick Vieira, he's changed them up a little bit, but I don't think he fully knows what is, even now, 6 months into the season. Patrick Vieira's fully settled on what his best Crystal Palace 11 is. We know Conor Gallagher's in it, but we don't really. He keeps messing around with the strikers, doesn't he? 1 week he plays Benteke, 1 week he plays Edouard, 1 week he plays that Eze, Mateta as well. Yeah, so they chop and change a lot, and yeah, it's similar to the Newcastle game. I look at that Crystal Palace team, and when they come to Goodison, providing that we've got a fully fit Everton team, there's no excuse for Everton not to be winning it, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. I think we've got to beat Palace, especially at Goodison. The one after that is the derby at Anfield.
Forget it. We'll get hammered. Yeah.
After that, it's Chelsea at Goodison.
I'm not sure about this. We're not going to win that. Do I think we could get a point? Maybe. This was the main bone of contention I was having in the debate today. I was talking about the Wolves game at home, the United game at home, and the Chelsea game at home. Those 3 games, I can see us getting 3 points. I could see us either winning one of them or drawing all 3. I'd be disappointed with anything less than 3. I've got a feeling that we're going to win at least one of them, or we're not going to lose more than one of them. So maybe I'm being generous again, but I think I'd fancy us to maybe sneak a point with that. Because we know maybe Chelsea will be in the FA Cup still. Are they in the FA Cup? I think they are. Chelsea.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're in the FA Cup. They'll be in the Champions League. They're playing right now, I believe, as we speak, in the Champions League against Lille. I don't know what the score is, but
last time I checked, it was 1-0. And they've still got the problem of striker Lukaku is again out of favour, out of sorts. So, I mean, obviously this is April the 30th, and it's a bit of a way away yet, but you never know.
You never know. I'm optimistic we could maybe snatch a point somehow in that game, and so I'll put my neck on the line and say I think we'll manage to sneak a point. It's Frank's old club as well. He'll be desperate to get a result, won't he? He'll be bang up for it. You think the players will be bang up for it. The fans will be bang up for it because we want to back Frank, and we'll know how desperate Frank is to get a good result. So it might be unrealistic, but I'm going to say we get a point out of that game.
Yeah, I'm going to take a bit of that optimism as well, especially because we've managed to get a point out of them with a lot dire situation as well. And the fact that, that was at Stamford Bridge that we managed to get that out of. So I'll go with that. The next is Leicester at the King Power.
I don't know. Leicester are all over the place, but I think that would... this is the opposite of that Chelsea one. I'd like to think we're going to get a point, but I just can't bring myself to let myself believe we're going to. So I think it's Leicester. They're really out of sorts, aren't they? And we don't know where they're probably still going to be in that European competition, the Conference League, aren't they? Maybe they'll have their minds on other things, because if they win that Conference League and they get back into the Europa League next season, then they can argue it's been an okay year. I know they've dropped off dramatically in the league compared to what they were, but they are an aging squad. And I think Rodgers has got a valid point when he says that he needs time, and he's going to get the time. He won them the FA Cup. He got them so close to the Champions League. I think any talk of Rodgers getting sacked by Leicester is ludicrous myself. They would be absolutely stupid to get rid of Rodgers anytime soon, considering what he's managed to do since he got there and what he's contending with. So you're hoping that Leicester will just be looking to win that Mickey Mouse Conference League and as a way to get into Europe still, and argue that this has still been a productive season for them. But if I had to put my neck on the line, I'm going to say we're going to lose that game. Just got a bad feeling.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like, they're 5 points above us now. They've got 5 points more than us, sorry. But like you said, if I was Leicester, I'd put all my eggs in the Conference League. I'm going to go with a draw. Personally, I'm going to go with a draw. I'd hope by the time we play them that their mind is completely on something different.
Yeah.
Sort of just, I'm hoping if they continue how they are as well, they might even field a weaker squad, keep his best players for a bigger fixture.
I know that they're getting criticised, aren't they, because they can't keep up the standards that they've set over the last 2-3 years, where they're fighting for the top four and they haven't been anywhere near that this year. But they go and win that Europa Conference League, and there's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't be. There's hardly anyone in it. There's only really Roma, Jose Mourinho's Roma.
Yeah, and even he's been turned over this, I think it was by Glint, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're looking they look very, very beatable. So winning that Europa Conference League, if you're Leicester, that's basically the equivalent of finishing sixth again. And that's, considering all the problems they've had, that would be a really solid campaign. If that was Everton, if we managed to win a trophy and then the following season finished in the top six and were guaranteed another European campaign, then I'd be over the moon with that. So Leicester can finish well into the bottom half as long as they win that Europa League. It doesn't really matter. At least I don't think it should. And Rodgers should be spared any over the top criticism, which I think he's getting at the moment. But I don't see us getting anything out of that game. Me hands on my heart, but you do.
I think we'll get a point. The next game, I'm gonna say I'm quite confident for. It's Everton versus Brentford. I've not seen enough from Brentford to believe that. I think they're going to get dragged down, into it.
I do. It's another Palace game where I think there's absolutely no excuse for us not to be winning it. If we don't win that sort of game, then the writing's on the wall as far as I'm concerned. Going down.
Yeah, so, hopefully by then we're a bit clear, because that's the second to last game. But I agree, and Brentford they started so well, but like now when I watch them, I think I've not seen a worse looking team.
They've figured out relatively quickly, haven't they? Maybe they've just about done enough in the first half of the season. They've just about got enough points in the first half of the season where they don't need many in the second half to be okay. But I agree with you. If they stay up, it will be by the skin of the teeth, I think.
Yeah, and then the final game is a trip to Arsenal.
We'll lose that. So, so how many games did I have us winning? I had us winning Brentford. I had us winning against Crystal Palace. I had us winning against Newcastle. And I think I had us picking up maybe 4 draws.
Yeah.
One against Watford, one against City, one against United, one against Wolves, and one against Chelsea. So that would be 13 points, which would take us from 22 to 35, which would surely, I think, probably be enough to keep us up. We'd probably finish maybe 4th or 5th from bottom, but as long as we were safe,
I
wouldn't say who cares, but it's not. It doesn't really matter as long as we stay safe and we can plan for next season and get this dire campaign behind us. Then fine. Do you know what I mean? So if we got us to 39, if we got to, I think in order to be absolutely sure we're going to stay up, we need to get to 33 points. Get to 33 points, I think we'll be okay, because I think the teams that go down won't get to 30, won't get to 33. One of them will get over 30, and I think the other two will end up in the high 20s.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm looking at the table now. I agree. I think the teams below us here are going to struggle to get those type of points. Looking at it, Burnley are one to be careful of. They've got like 2 games in hand still on everyone else.
With Burnley, I think they'll go down, but they'll be very, very unlucky because I don't think they'll lose many games between now and the end of the season. I just don't think they'll win many either. I think they'll get a lot of draws, and they'll be one of those teams that is desperately unlucky. Maybe they go down on the final day or something. Because who are the Brett? What are the other relegation rivals? What are all their final days of the season? I know one of them has got Chelsea away. Who's that? Is that Burnley or is it?
I'll have a look now. But Burnley, when you're saying about draws, that's been the problem of their season all season. We've lost more games than them this season. Burnley have got Newcastle on the last day, so that could be.
That could be a 6-pointer. Maybe Newcastle might just be out of it by then, and they'll go on holiday. I hope not, though. I hope that's a relegation 6-pointer because that will do us nicely. That
Norwich have got Tottenham. I think Tottenham.
Is it at Tottenham?
Yeah. No, it took Norwich.
No, but I still fancy Tottenham to win that because Tottenham will be playing. Surely Tottenham will be playing for something. They'll probably be playing for fourth in that final game of the season, or if they're not playing for fourth, they'll be playing for the difference between like fifth and sixth. And Conte's a winner. He'll want to finish as high up as he possibly can. He's one of those managers where finishing one place lower than you possibly could will eat to him. He'll be fuming if they finish like sixth and not fifth, or if he finished fifth and not fourth, or if he finished like fourth and not third. It's just in Conte's makeup, isn't he? He has to win every single game he plays. So I'd fancy Tottenham to get a good result that day.
Watford are the ones that have Chelsea on the last day, and that's at Stamford Bridge.
Sure. I don't think Chelsea are not going to be in the title race, are they? And they'll probably be on their holidays by that point, and maybe they'll be saving themselves if they get to another final like the FA Cup or the Champions League. But surely to God, you'd expect Chelsea to turn them over. I'd be absolutely livid if they didn't. If Chelsea just had the flip flops on and let Watford sneak away with a point or something.
Same, and then the teams have both Leeds have got Brentford, and Brentford have got Leeds on the final day, but Leeds have got City, Arsenal, and Brighton before that. So they
won't win it. They won't win any of them. Surely, yeah.
And then Brentford have got obviously Leeds, but then they've got us and Southampton and United before that. I can't see that. I think Southampton beat them. I think United, if they show up, beat them, and hopefully we beat them. So I think they are equally in trouble.
I think we're probably going to finish 16th or 15th or 16th. I think the three that will go down will be Burnley, Norwich, and Watford. Not really sure what order. And I think maybe Newcastle. Newcastle maybe or I think Leeds or Brentford will be fourth from bottom, and then it will be between 14th, 15th, and 16th will be between us, Newcastle, and Brentford. I think or Leeds. Brentford will finish fourth from bottom, and 16th, 15th, and 14th will be made up between us, Leeds, and Newcastle. It just depends on who gets the most points between now and the end of the season. But as long as we're not part of that bottom three, then I couldn't care.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's going to be the way it falls in the end. I think there's too many teams below us that or around us that are far less off. I completely agree, mate. Obviously, we'll get back to the City game. Give me your. I'm going to ask. Give me what you think Frank will set up as, and then obviously we'll end on a score prediction.
Don't know. It would be a massive boost if Decore was fit. I know Frank said last week, didn't he, that he was close. He said he wouldn't make the Southampton game, but he was back in light training. So it depends whether or not he decides to risk Decore.
Would you risk it?
No, I wouldn't, because this game, as we said, this game's a write-off as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't risk it. I know we were talking earlier on, like we don't want to get beat too heavily. If we get beat maybe 2-0 or 3-1 or something, then it's something we can maybe just dust ourselves off and go again the weeks after that. But I wouldn't risk Decore because he's got to be massive for us in the final 2-3 months of the season, and I don't want to bring him back on the off chance that we brought him back a few days early and he tweaks a muscle and then he's out again. No, unless Decore gets the absolute all clear to play, then I'd wrap him in cotton wool and wait. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go 5 at the back. Again, I know it didn't really work in the games that we tried it, but it is going to be damage limitation. I think if Frank goes into this game looking to be positive and looking to score, and that's commendable, but I just think he'd be playing into City's hands. So I think it is literally just maybe shutting up shop and maybe nicking them off the set piece and just trying to frustrate City. And we do see that City, if they don't get a goal within the first hour of a game, then they do tend to get frustrated, don't they? And you can get at them in the final 20 minutes or so of games when they're getting a bit ratty and they've run out of ideas a bit, and maybe Guardiola's getting on the backs on the sideline. And so they can keep them out for until about 60 minutes, then maybe there'll be something in it for us in the final stages of the game. But no, I'd play Seamus Coleman at right back, because I think he plays in a back five better than Kenny does. I'd play Holgate, Keane, and is Godfrey fit?
I'm not too sure. I've not heard.
If he is, then I'd play the three of them as the three centre backs with Michaelenko as the left back. I'd play Alan and Van der Beek in the midfield as a two. I know they're probably going to get completely overran, but as I said then, they'd get overran anyway, even if we had 4-3. Even if we're playing 4-3-3 in there, we're not going to win any possession battles with City, so we're not really missing out on much, are we? So just Van der Beek and Alan, and tell a pair of them to get after every City player that comes near them, just get kicking at them, get harassing them, get leaving a little bit on them, maybe just to hopefully wind them up a little bit, but just make sure you do it cleverly so you're not picking up any early bookings. Just instead of looking to link up with the strikers, just tell those two to just run around like a pair of Rottweilers and just be looking to get at City players every chance they get, with Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin and Anthony Gordon as a forward three, maybe, and just hopefully one of them can pull something out. Maybe Gordon can throw at the odd cross in, or we can get the odd corner, or maybe Richarlison can just get us up the pitch and maybe win us some set pieces that we can take advantage of. But I'd flood the defence basically and just keep them out for as long as we can.
Yeah, a three at the back as well means you can pack that middle a bit, which is City are going to absolutely own the middle of the field. And it's going to be one of those.
They don't own the middle of the field anyway. That's the point I was making. Even if we had a fully fit team, City are always going to just dominate us in the midfield areas, because it's what they do. So we might as well just roll with it and look to shore up the back, because there's no point to shoring up the front, because the game's not there to be won against City. At least not for the first hour, it won't be.
I don't think we touch the ball for the first, once they get the ball, I don't think we touch it for a while. I think the possession stats are going to be quite
off the charts, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it's going to be something like 70-30 at the end of the game for them. In my opinion, I just don't think we're going to get anywhere near them. I'd personally do the same though as you. I think playing 4-4-2 against City would be. I mean, if it's going for a win, it's commendable, but I also think it's absolute madness. I think it's
Frank doesn't strike as the type of manager who would go into a game already admitting defeat. Like, he's not going to be like Mr. Negative, is he? He was never that way at Chelsea. Now, I know he had better players at Chelsea, and you can't really be negative when you're a Chelsea manager. They're the type of club that go into every game thinking, and rightly so, thinking they can win it. But Frank's a prideful guy. He was the same when he was a player. He's probably never played a game of football in his life that he never deep down believed that the team he was playing for or managing could win. But he's got to remember he's not at Chelsea anymore. He's managing Everton, and he's managing an Everton that are in a very desperate situation. So there are some times where you just have to focus on damage control and seeing how long you can hold out for, rather than seeing how well you can get forward and create. So I don't know. Maybe if we concede earlier on, then it all just goes out the window, doesn't it? And if that happens, then he might as well just go for it and see what happens. But whilst we've got the scores level, it would be the wisest decision to just focus on the defence, really.
What's your score prediction for it? We'll finish on the score predictions as always.
Don't mean to be depressing. I'll go for a 3-1 for City. I'm hoping if we get a goal, then it will at least keep everyone's mood high. It will give everyone a lift, saying, right, we didn't get hammered there. We just came up against a team that is far, far better than us and is playing for something far, far bigger than what we're playing for, which is a league title. So we at least went and had a go at them. We gave it our best. We've got nothing to be ashamed of. And if we can keep the game sort of on an even keel for the majority, if they don't take the lead until the second half, well into the second half, then there's every reason to think, right, we lived with City for 60, 70 minutes, whatever it is. if we can do that, then we can definitely, when the likes of Newcastle turn up and the likes of Brentford and the likes of Palace all come to town, there's no reason why we can't be getting the better of these if we can hold our own with City for most of the game. That's just the main thing we've got to focus on. We just can't go down here and concede early, because if we could concede early, just everything goes out the window as far as I'm concerned. But I think they are the City. They're too good and they've got too much to play for. They are going to break through and they are going to put goals past us. I can see a game very similar to what we had in the FA Cup last year, where we hung with them for a good while, but in the end, they just overpowered us and they made the breakthrough. And once they score and they go ahead, there's no way back for us. It's only going to end one way. I think it finished 2-0 in the cup, didn't it? When we had João Virginia in goal. I see a game very similar to that, to be honest, where there's not really much to be angry about afterwards. You just sometimes have to hold your hands up and admit, the other team were just too good and we were never going to beat them in them on Sundays.
Yeah, I must admit, I mean, it depends when Everton turn up. Try not, if Everton turn up against Southampton, I think we're looking at like a 5. If City turn up relentless, but I'm hoping we see a bounce back. I think a 2-0 wouldn't be the worst defeat in the world. We even, I mean, a 2-1 might be me being a bit too optimistic there, but like 2-0, like you said, in the same as the cup, if you can hold them for a little bit longer, not let the floodgates open, they can hold that. It's not, no player wants to pick themselves up after a loss, but at least there's positives to look at. They could have been worse. We did all right to hold with, like you said, City, who are.
We've proven something there. We've proven that we're not all. Well, again, it changes every week, doesn't it? If they can hold City for the majority of the game, they can at least come off the pitch afterwards and say, you know what, we did achieve something there, because we didn't get steamrolled like everyone thought we were going to be. And rightly thinking we were going to be, because we just got steamrolled by Southampton, didn't we? And Southampton are nowhere near as good as City. So I am expecting a bit of a reaction from the Everton players as well. It's just, fact of the matter is, City will probably want the points more than we will.
Yeah,
and they've got a far better team to get it. So,
oh god, yeah, their bench. I'd argue that their bench sort of their second 11 is yeah. Saying that it's very typical Everton to which is why I'm saying 2-0. It's very typical Everton to sort of get steamrolled by Southampton and then play someone like City and put in it's like when we played Chelsea and we got that draw. It was like sort of so typical Everton. You get beat by the worse teams and then you go against the tougher teams and sort of hold your own. So I'm sort of hoping, like you said.
It's typical Everton in years ago when we got beat 3-0 by Wigan in the cup, and then a couple of days afterwards, City came to town and we beat them 3-1 in the league. Yeah. And when that game had nothing on it, and all the pressure was on the FA Cup game, and we blew it. So you don't know, do you? But yeah, this is just a game, as I said at the beginning. I just can't wait to get it out the way.
Same, absolute same. That is all we've got time for today, though, guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below your score predictions for the games. I'm sure one or two of you have probably got more optimistic and are going to put a win or something. I look forward to reading them, and stay safe, guys.